Well, and when we moved into it, we were like 35. It was like, this is a big deal. Yeah. Little stairs, you get there, big deal. 36 years later, it's like, any place to come up and downstairs. You said, like, oh, needed it. Okay, Sandra. It seems like 35 people, yeah.
Green light is go. Whatever. Green light up here is not on. This doesn't matter. So we'll clean this up. But those are set. You shouldn't have to worry about it, but if there's a troubleshooting issue, just check the green light up there. Good. We don't want your microphone.
That's fine.
Okay. You're happy with that?
Yeah,
Yep.
she'll promote you to panelist and then
For the new folks? Or is this
For everyone.
just for you, Heather.
Yeah.
Failed to detect your mic.
Yeah, that's fine.
You know that lateral canal that the Army Corps of
Uh-huh.
Engineers got? I drove by it the other day and I noticed that they're encasing the rest of the canal.
Yeah. Yeah, that was part of what they were gonna do. So,
Okay, I thought they were just.
no, I think it's the whole thing. Afternoon, how are you? Good. Put that off. Hi, I'm Pat.
I'm James.
James, pleasure. Hi. Youth Commission.
Hi there.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. You're James? Ken Priest. Let's call it. Yeah. Okay. Sandwich, I think, is my big partner. You promoted. You let it turn.
I guess that's for you.
Oh, awesome.
I'm Pat.
I'm great.
Great,
Nice to
pleasure.
meet you. Yeah.
You're gonna have a full house. Mine. Mine was the same. No. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a new one for me.
It is
so.
Friday.
Yes, that's.
So, go to Zoom. Did you grab the?
I just go to City Meridian.
Oh,
and just click on that. Go to government. Scroll down. Meetings and commission. Scroll down. Agendas. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Then that'll, there's a link on that. They'll open up the Zoom meeting. Click on that. Yeah. Which one?
No, it doesn't go to the meeting. And you don't have to put in any code.
Awesome. Oh. So now you saw that, okay. Oh.
Cassandra will fix it. Ready? It is 4:32 on Friday, December 12th, 2025, and I call this meeting of the Meridian, special meeting, Meridian Historic Preservation Commission order. Roll call, Blaine Johnston. Here, Patrick Giddings. Here. Haley Stewart, not here. Ken Freeze.
Here.
James Monham.
Here.
Greg Wilson.
Here.
Heather Giacomo.
Here.
Thank you. Adoption of the agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move that we adopt the agenda.
Second. Motion by Commissioner Freeze, second by Commissioner Giddings for adoption of the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, thank you. Approval of minutes of our special meeting in November 14th, 2025.
Mr. Chair, I move that we adopt the minutes from this special meeting of 11/14/25.
Mr. Chair, I second that.
Motion by Commissioner Freeze, second by Commissioner Monham. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Go on to new business, adoption of the Meridian Historic Preservation Plan. Ms. Schiffler, anything we need to add?
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, all the edits that were discussed last month were incorporated into the final plan, which was attached to the agenda, and I believe it is ready to adopt.
That being said, Mr. Chair, I move that we adopt our new historic preservation plan.
Mr. Chair, I second that.
Motion by Commissioner Giddings, second by Commissioner Freeze for adoption of our historic preservation plan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, thank you. One note before we go on. Ms. Schiffler, do we need to present this to council or what's the next step?
Mr. Chair, an SOP, a standard operating procedure, is something that's usually handled internally with staff, so it's not council level, and so it won't need further approval
Okay.
after this.
Okay, thank you. Item 3, presentation, drafted standard operating procedure for coordination of HPC and current planning development review. Ms. Schiffler, you have the floor.
Oh, it's not showing up here. Is that okay? Mr. Chair and Commissioners, so this is, you've just adopted the Historic Preservation Plan, your work for the next 10 years. Have our work cut out for us. But as part of that planning process, this is part of goal number 2.3A, which is explore the development of a formal process through the Planning Division for development application review of potential historic sites where development may negatively impact historic features. So this is, I've been working with the Planning Division on this SOP. I believe it was attached to the agenda. If you had a chance to look at it, I'm going to go over the process with you. But it's ready for us to implement now. And it's also been informally happening over the past year. And I was really hoping to formalize something so that it wasn't confusing about what happens when or how this happens. So I also have Caleb Hood here to help. He is the Deputy Director of Planning and Development, right? And so I turn it over to him because the process actually starts over in planning.
Thank you, Cassandra, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. It's my pleasure to be here again. Caleb Hood, Community Development. So I am here representing that department, but Cassandra worked pretty closely with Bill Parsons in my office and Carl Anderson. But as Cassandra just said, over the last year plus, we've been kind of talking about some of these things and informally implementing some of the coordination efforts that are outlined in the SOP. So it's good to see it kind of take shape in black and white, and we've been kind of test driving it, I guess, a little bit, but this will formalize some of those things. So Cassandra, I don't know if you all have it in front of you. It is in your packet, I believe. Let's see what page it's on. Did you already say that, Cassandra? Sorry. But just section 1 of the process, I'm going to kind of outline that a little bit and kind of highlight that a little bit, kind of the kickoff to how this SOP works. And the thing I really want to call to your attention in the first step is that there's really 2 processes in planning. There's administrative level applications and there's hearing level applications. So the CZC, as you see this in the SOP, that's an administrative application that usually takes 5 to 7 to 10 business days for us to process. So I want to emphasize that there's really not a whole lot of time to do some of these things that are called for potentially in the SOP to coordinate. So anything that needs to be documented and then shared back with the applicant, the window's pretty short, pretty small on that one. So the administrative ones, though, I'm not saying lollygag, but we have some more time. There's usually 1, if not 2 public hearings, and usually a few to a handful of months before those are completed. So I just want to call that to your attention really in step 1. And then the other thing that I think that's critical, especially in that first part, is the information that we're relying on to see what triggers are there. And this is something I think there's some more work to do. Even we're talking with my staff is to make sure GIS is accurate, So when we use that tool, it's flagging the right properties or the right things that may be of concern. So we know to kick this process off. So just again, talking with my staff a little bit, I think making sure that all the GIS layers are where they need to be. And that may even be working with some other partners like Ada County and others to get those layers tagged in GIS. So I don't know if we want to do, just run through it in, the other part is more towards the end that Cassandra asked me to sort of highlight a little bit. So if you want me to jump there or sort of walk through the process some more and then,
I'll walk through and come back.
okay.
Okay. So history check, the planner sees it, and then the planner sends it to me, to invite me to the pre-app meeting or the application. Then I need to do a data check. So I will go to, so SHPO, has something called iCris. Just curious because there's public access to this. Have any of you gone onto iCris yourselves and looked at any of that? Oh, if you had not, so that's nice. So you kind of have an idea of what that is. It's very cool because you can look at sites all over the state of Idaho and kind of zoom into various properties and see if there's documentation. So I will pull from the site what they have. It's called the Idaho Historic Sites Inventory, an IHSI file, and things that are associated with it. And then I'll just do a Google survey to like a virtual, just look at Google Maps and the street view to make an initial determination of whether the features appear to be intact. As we talked about in the last meeting, our data sets for a lot of those places, they're on there, but when I pull it up, like Google Images, there's actually a subdivision there, so it's no longer standing. So if it's pretty clear that there's not a site there, the process will stop there. I'll send that to the planner, but if there's nothing there, then end of process. But if there is something there or I'm not sure, then I will ask a commissioner to just go and do a site visit. So the site visit has to be from the right of way. So street, pathway, sidewalk, can't go on the property, just to go visually look at it, take a photo and just note what it is that's there. If there's nothing there because Google is outdated or it was just, you couldn't really see, then process kind of stops there. But if there is something intact, then we will have a meeting. And if it's longer process, then we would have plenty of time to have a regular meeting. But if timeliness is important, we might need to schedule a special meeting. And then we can look at the information that's there, HBC can make comments or recommendations to provide to the planner. And I'll give some examples in a minute of like what those recommendations might be. And then the planner will talk to the applicant to facilitate the communication of what is there. And maybe I turn it back to Caleb for if it advances to the next stage.
So I'm trying to track with the SOP. So we're on 4 or 5 at this point, or
Kind of 5 through 8.
okay.
Or I guess probably in 6, because the HBC of like, let's say there's something that was there was a dual silo, for example, that was very interesting to the commission and they wanted to write a letter about that and we send that to the planner. Then what would happen?
Yeah. So again, there's kind of 2 different processes depending on if it were an administrative application, we need to get with the applicant directly or through the pre-application meeting process, share that information with them. We also do intend to put this in our written staff reports for the public hearings. Kind of depending on how the conversation goes, I think with your staff liaison and planning staff, they could turn into conditions depending on what is found to be important or relevant. I know the dual silos you guys were involved with there off of Black Cat this past year. So something like that could come out of one of these tagged properties being identified and further investigation happening. So it kind of depends, but I think this covers that the planner then does take the lead in sharing that information with the applicant on whatever the case may be, something that is, even if it's just more information required, maybe you do want right of entry or something like that to do some more documentation, we can talk with the applicant about that.
And if it's discussed at an application meeting or something, the planner would let me know, and then I would let the Historic Preservation Commission know so that you could come to any of those meetings to make comments along with the public. And then all comments have to be emailed to the planner and city clerk. So that's basically the steps. So a really important note for this entire process, though, is the history check information. So the reason that there's anything in there at this point is because about 15 years ago, there was a planner who went through and had that, and it was any site that had an Idaho Historic Sites inventory number. So whether or not there was nothing there or something there. So there's actually a ton of sites that have something there. But most of them are nothing. And so our GIS layer has a lot of information on it right now. And there might be sites out there that haven't been surveyed or are still existing. So that this entire process is completely reliant on that data, which does need updating through some future surveys. And I'd also currently our GIS person and the SHPO GIS person tried to communicate, but they weren't able to facilitate getting the current updated ICRIS information to our planning map. I hope ICRIS is still a newer system for them, so I hope as we move along in the future, we might be able to get the information directly from SHPO, which would be great. So we at least have the current information from ICRIS. But even then, we'll still have a lot of sites that are outdated or non-existent. So we should be resurveying some of those properties to get an update and maybe whittle down which ones are actually of interest. So examples of type of comments that could be provided. This isn't restricted to only these, but this is an example of probably the most common. So the commission recommends documenting the site through professional photography. So if at the meeting it seems really interesting, we want to get more pictures of gables and roofs and different things, then we could recommend that it gets documented and hopefully get some permission to go on the right of way and get good photographs. Might be historic features are not really of interest to HPC. Like there's something there, but they've been degraded so far that they just really lack historic significance. Or maybe they are of significant interest and HPC would like to see the site preserved in part or in some manner. Or the site's eligible for the National Register or potentially on the National Register, and HPC would like to see it retain its eligibility. The site's within the downtown core, so HPC would like to see future development remain consistent with the historic character of downtown, or the developers encouraged to include signage, art installation, or other to promote the history of the site. So those are all just possible, it would depend on what it is, possible examples of types of recommendations. So that's it for my presentation. What questions do you have?
I've got a couple, so commission members, you ask first.
I've got one to Mr. Wood. Were you talking about the 10 days for demolition permits? No.
No, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Freeze. The 10 days is for the certificate of zoning compliance. So that's the
Okay.
primary administrative application that we've identified. Our demolition permits, unfortunately, are basically over the counter. So they're done at the time someone comes in. There's not a whole lot to verify or check in order to pull a demolition permit in Meridian these days.
Yeah, that's where I'd like to see some more coordination on that. I can't say I've seen it here in Meridian. I have seen it in other places, particularly in Caldwell. And I'm sure it's happened where somebody buys some property, they have great plans for it. Everything's got to be demolished immediately. Then a year later, 3 years later, 5 years later, nothing's happened to the property other than what was there has been demolished. And I'd like to see where at least there was some coordination so that when somebody came in and said, hey, I want to demolish something, planning would look up and say, okay, is this on our list of historic places? And if so, a little bit more time is given so that we can make sure we've got some good documentation of it. I'm not talking about stopping anything.
Right.
I'd just like to get it documented before it's gone.
Yeah, and we have, Mr. Chair, if it's okay, we have talked about that as well. And I think something as you describe would be appropriate. The at least currently in our process, planning isn't even involved with those. It is simply one of our building permit technicians that takes that application in, reviews it, and issues it. So we have talked to them about potentially including planning or Cassandra in as a step. with the understanding that it won't elongate the process too much. Maybe it's another day or something for someone to verify if it's on a list of tagged properties that should be considered for documentation or saving or something. We haven't gotten there.
Yeah.
But we haven't talked about it recently, at least I haven't talked about it recently, but that is something that's on our radar for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, if I might add, I think one of the problems with that right now is that we don't have a solid list of like what are, I don't know how many there would be if we just stuck with like the eligible National Register, even, that's like 100, but we don't really have a refined list right now. So I think it would be difficult to check each and every demo permit. But if there was an existing list, that would probably make that a lot easier, right?
Again, to follow up, yeah, if we have a list and we get routed those, I think we could do it in a timely manner that
Yeah.
where the development community doesn't get frustrated that it's taking longer to issue those. If they're used to it being done over the counter and instead it's the next day, that seems reasonable. But yes, we need some more tools in our toolbox to do that.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Hood, I have a question about what triggers the administrative process to go from that to a hearing? What triggers that on your end?
Yeah, good question. It's a long answer because it varies. It kind of depends. We require public hearings for all types of applications, everything from an annexation and zoning to come into the city of Meridian, to a conditional use permit to operate a drive-through. So there's a whole bunch of different triggers that are the hearing level. Subdivisions require hearing, variances, there are quite a few of those. The administrative applications really more, just to maybe sort of summarize this, are really more on the towards the construction side of things, not the entitlement side of things or getting your approvals on paper, but more we're moving through plan review to actually build something. And a lot of these projects would go through both processes. You need a hearing level first, and then you come in for your CZC to actually build whatever you got approved for on the front end. Sorry, I can't give you more of a direct answer, but it really does kind of vary.
Anybody else? All right, my turn. Cassandra, would the updated tag survey help us out with the IHAS?
It would update sites. It wouldn't help us with the list for the city, and it would only be for the downtown ones.
Okay. Is the IHIS survey available for commission members to look at?
When you say the survey,
If we look at that IHIS survey, can we look at it, and say, okay, and then we can just, as a commission, start looking at, okay, I'm going to pick this group. I'll go drive past and see what's there. And then can we update it?
you cannot update it. It has to be done by a historic preservation professional. They're kind of complicated forms, so I think they have to, potentially maybe you could update it, but they're typically done by a historic research preservation professional.
Okay.
So they have to update the forms. There's a form with every single property. And to update the forms, you have to submit it to SHPO, and then they have to review it, and then they have to upload it into their site.
Okay. It's a question for SHPO. My next question for you, Mr. Hood. During a pre-app meeting, can a commission member be invited to attend that?
Well, we have legal staff here, so maybe that's a better question. They're not necessarily public meetings or hearings. We have other city staff there. I guess
Well, because I was at the one for Black Cat.
Yeah.
Because I was invited to that one. So as a rule, probably not. But
That's
if we see something that we notify Ms. Schiffler about,
absolutely.
okay.
Yeah. So I think that's the best way is, again, I think the intent of some of this SOP is early and often. So if we can identify this before we meet with them, talk to Cassandra, she attends or one of you attend that pre-app early so we can educate, explain, and maybe get towards something where, everyone's happy in this process. And the pre-app meeting is a great time to
Exactly.
notify those applicants.
Catch it early, yeah. Okay. That's all my questions. Anything else?
Mr. Chair, would you mind rolling back one slide? Or is that Cassandra? Thank you.
And you can feel free to this is the PowerPoint presentation, but there is the full SOP attached in the packet. So you're welcome to look over that during the next month and just send me any comments or thoughts about the SOP. But I think I'll give it another month, but I think with planning, we're ready to start implementing this and planning can circulate it with staff, right?
So I'll just build on that a little bit. We've already circulated it with staff. We've
Oh.
already shared this. And again, we've sort of been test driving it to some degree. I'll be honest, we're all in our routines. And so having them remember to check the GIS, look for those tag property, so I'm hopeful that we'll reinforce this again. But yeah, we're all sort of creatures of habit and these are the way we do things. So looking at this in GIS and looking for those tagged properties. But yeah, we're committed to this and look forward to it. And again, it's already been shared and routed and we're ready to go.
I do have one more question for you guys. Because I get notifications, emails of upcoming public hearings, planning, zoning, city, what. I take it that the pre-app meetings are held before those meetings are announced, correct?
Well in advance, yes.
Okay.
And I'll just say, you can, if you want to, you can go to our, what we call the Acela Citizen Access side of our website,
Mhm.
and you can actually see all the pre-apps that are in too. Those are public records.
Are
You
they?
can see, I don't know if any of you follow Boise Dev.
Yes.
But they have things that I haven't even seen yet because they're in our database saying, hey, this was just submitted for pre-app to the city of Meridian. It's like, oh, really?
Oh,
Okay.
gee, thanks.
Good to know. Yeah. So, but anyone can access that. So you just go there and you can look up, pre-app 2025 and you can see, the sorting and filtering. That's not what this meeting is for, is to show you how to work our online database. But you can look at that if you're so inclined and even do some of these things. Hey, where's that site? Oh, I think there might be something on there and you could do some, yeah, if you're curious.
Yeah, can I do, because I get those application notices, then I will go I'll go to Google Maps. Okay, this is the address. What's
Yeah.
there? Even though Google Earth's not always up to date, but see what's available. And if I have to, then I'll go out and take a look at stuff. So.
Yeah. So again, that's something you could do at your leisure if you
Okay.
wanted to.
Just to clarify, the pre-app, you're saying pre-app 2025, is that the website or is that something on
Yeah.
through the Meridian City?
So this is going to turn to a training session on how to use our website.
Yeah,
Maybe, could I suggest, Caleb, would you be able to send me an email with like some steps on how to do that and
Yeah.
I could forward
That'd
it?
be
Yeah, we do that for our
Yes,
customers.
yes.
So I can
Okay.
show you with a
Perfect.
couple screenshots, but
great.
the short answer right now is yes, it's the city's website and you go to just the planning department or building, I can't even remember, community development. And again, it's ACA or Acela Citizen Access. You need to create an account, free, but you need to create an account and then you can access a lot of that. I will look for that and get that to Cassandra and then she can route it to you.
Perfect. Thank you. Any more questions? Ms. Schiffer, thank you for all your hard work. I appreciate that. And it looks great.
Thank you.
With that, we'll go on to item 4, exploring options for the nomination for the National Historic Places. As stated last month, Zamzel's family is not interested in having the mill on the registry, so we have to look at other options. First one that comes to mind is the Masonic Hall, but that's not set in stone. If the commission members have other options they'd like us to look at, to begin with, we can look at other options.
Mr. Chair, did Zamzows give a reason why they weren't interested?
No,
Okay.
they just said not interested at this time.
Okay.
So. The other thing we can work on and probably coordinate them is maybe want to concentrate on creating the city's historic downtown district. It's 2 different processes because the historic district is going to just be internal for us while we start working on nomination for the registry. So I'm open up for discussion.
I guess, Mr. Chair, I'd like to do both.
Yeah.
I'm all for starting the process for the Masonic Hall. I think that that also should be included in the downtown Meridian, the Idaho Street
Mhm.
Historic District. And I think that my 2 cents worth is that we should, so especially since they've shown the interest in having that building added
Yes.
to the historic register, we should go ahead and start that process.
And I agree. I think if we can get that listed, that will help the credibility of our downtown district.
Absolutely.
Mr. Freeze.
I agree. I think both. If I had to prioritize, I'd say the downtown district. Because it encompasses a little bit larger area, more buildings. But yeah, I think both.
Okay.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners. I did reach out to SHPO about potential future sites. And so the Masonic Hall is one within that Idaho Street district that was not included in the initial survey, but has been recommended to be included with the
Mhm.
survey. So it would be part of that district. So nominating it separately is maybe not a priority just because it would be nominated as part of the district. To move forward on the districts, what we need to show is 50% or more of property owners that are in support or in favor. It doesn't have to be a complicated thing. It can just be an email or a pretty informal letter from the property owner saying that, yes, they would support being nominated to the National Register district. So we need that. And then we can get support from the SHPO. We could ask for a grant for that for not this year, but for the next year. So that's something that we could definitely be working on. It's probably not something that we could get to quite this fiscal year, and it would also be more than we have budget funds for this fiscal year. So I asked SHPO if there was something, an individual site that might make sense. And they highly recommended the Meridian Water Tower, which turns 50 this year and is now eligible.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to comment on that. In my original research that I was doing to be on the commission, I always wondered, why isn't the water tower one of our historical sites? Because that is kind of what you think of when you think of Meridian, besides the Speedway. Speedway was there, water tower wasn't. Now I know the answer, but it wasn't yet 50.
Not quite old enough.
So I strongly support that.
Have we verified the exact age on it? Because there was a question at our agenda meeting that may not be 50 quite yet.
Well, according to the newspaper article and the water, I can't remember his title, but the one that was interviewed about it, it was, what is,
Built, constructed?
76 that it was constructed then. I'm sure we can verify that through some building documents.
Okay.
I did also reach out to the Public Works Director to see if they would be supportive, and they would be happy to move forward with that too.
Okay. I guess my thought is let's do both. Let's start process on the water tower. But simultaneously, if we can get a list of those people, property owners on Idaho Street, then if we can have a draft letter by next meeting to those property owners saying HPC is interested in forming a historic district for downtown, your property is eligible, what are your feelings about it? Then we can get that letter sent out next month sometime or the following month in February.
I think, Mr. Chair, I think we need to be able to explain to them what that means exactly.
Exactly.
If I owned one of those buildings, I'd want to know exactly what that means. If there's going to be limitations, they're going to want, I think they're going to want to have answers about what that means. And I'm sure that we could provide those answers, but it would need to, so I don't know if there would need to be like,
SHPO suggested, since there would be several people, to do a meeting and invite everyone to the meeting, and SHPO could be there and explain it to them.
yeah.
One thing that is my ignorance is I don't actually know how to get the information of all of those owners.
I do. You can go to Ada County Assessor, type in their address and it brings up the property owners. So you can go through Ada County Assessor and get the property owners. So that's the easiest way. So.
Does it have their contact information?
Huh?
Hmm. Okay.
So, tell you what, I will do that. I'll work on property owners on Idaho Street and get a list. Including.
And they also did recommend both historic districts moving forward with both of them rather than one or the other.
So both Idaho and then what, North Maine?
And North Maine.
Okay.
Also, the other component of this is we probably need to get the updated survey because there are some properties that are going to shift, like the Masonic Hall
Mhm.
likely. So we don't have we don't have the completed survey quite yet. So we need to
Okay.
have that survey too.
Okay.
And were we talking about maybe adding a property or two onto the North Main? I know I had asked about the Avest property.
Yes, so the Aves property is across the street from the currently proposed one.
Right.
Shippo said they'd have to look at it, but might consider because they've done like a bump out before.
Mhm. Can we choose the boundary for a district?
No, that's determined by the Historic Preservation Research and Shippo. Shippo has to determine it. We can
Okay.
we could suggest it, but
Okay. I guess before we can go any further, I love doing both. Maybe we get Shippo here for January meeting and go over boundaries for both Idaho District and North Main District. So give us some parameters on how to move forward with those, if that makes sense. Or if we have it on hand, we can start looking at it individually and say, this is what Shippo has in mind for both those districts.
so right now the districts are the ones in the survey that still needs to be updated, and they're going to be working on updating it. So probably, I'm just thinking about the best way to do this.
Maybe January is too soon.
I think maybe we need to have the updated survey done.
Okay, that's fine. That'll work for me. So,
And that would be probably a great meeting. Okay, so TAG completes the updated survey, which they would then be presenting to the commission. And at that meeting, bringing them in where they're presenting that survey and asking Shippo to come to that meeting would probably be good.
yeah. Do we know when TAG's going to complete?
They anticipated end of February.
Perfect. That'll work. Then we can plan on the March meeting, having them present that to us and have Shippo here at our March meeting.
Okay.
Perfect. That'll work.
In the meantime, would you like me to look further into the water tower and
Yes, please.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Question? Okay, fine.
Just a comment?
Okay.
Second that.
With that, then, we will go on to item 5, planning our National Historic Preservation Month activities, which is always May in the year. We have done numerous things in the past. We've done walking tours. We've set up a video that's now currently plays in the History Center. Water Makes the Desert Bloom, if I remember the title right. But for the new commission members, any ideas that we can do to get the public down for a couple of days in May for Preservation Month?
I'm sure I have a thought, but I don't know if it's realistic or not. I know next year is also America 250.
Sorry,
celebration.
Commissioner Wilson, can you turn your microphone on? I have to do the minutes for these meetings later, and if I can't hear it on the meetings, it's really hard for me to do the minutes.
I'm not sure how to turn it on.
Green button should be.
Little green button at the bottom.
Yeah, Cassandra, it's on. I think maybe just bring it.
Okay,
There you go.
that was it. Thank you. So I know that next year, especially around July, is the America 250 celebration, and perhaps there's a way we can tie in some of the history of Meridian to that celebration, like a pre-250 celebration? I don't know.
I have no thoughts on the matter, so I'm open to discussions on anything you guys want to do.
I think I like where your head's at. I think the America 250 thing is going to definitely bring out like ages and years of things. So we could just highlight like when we go to kind of market and publicize the month, we could use just big numbers as kind of like one of the ways, which seems kind of simple, but just, you know, water tower, 50 years old, like these kind of like tagline ages definitely will probably be what people are looking out for next year. And so that probably will help draw attention towards us.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that. Or a quarter of the way to or 150 years after our founding, this is when this started, to kind of relate what was going on in Meridian at the same time, the history of our country. I don't know. We don't have really any 200-year-old buildings.
We do not know.
So I don't know how well that would work, but
Yeah, when our country was founded, it was like just Indians here.
yes.
That was pretty much it. That and wildlife.
Well, that might be something we could celebrate too, is who was here before us at that time, at the
Mhm.
founding of this country, what was going on in Meridian. That's kind of a different tack than what we've traditionally done with what we built as people here later, but that might also be pretty interesting.
Since we're real early in the process, I don't know that SHPO's got a theme yet for Preservation Month. They probably don't send it out till April. But I think we don't have to follow the theme that the State Historic Preservation Office gives us. So, I like where we're going with that. If you guys want to just brainstorm a little bit and come back with some ideas in January, then we can move forward. So,
Mr. Chair, maybe we could have a poster, because we should be starting back up with the, what's the event that we have, Saturdays?
walking tour.
Well, we have the walking tours, but the walking tours are on Saturdays at the same time as the
farmer's
farmer's
market.
market. That's right. Maybe we could have another booth set up, and then maybe we can have a poster that shows the different downtown districts that we're talking about. And we can talk to people about that
Okay.
and let them know this is what we're thinking about doing. We just passed this preservation plan. That's a 10-year, and these are the things we're interested in going after, so that the public knows kind of what's on our minds.
I think it's a great idea. Yeah, we can set something up with Farm Market, have a couple of Saturdays there or something like that to have people there. So, yeah. Perfect. Yeah, keep thinking about it and we'll just narrow it down in next month. So we have a good game plan.
I did try to look up the theme, and while there's not a theme currently, it is anticipated to be along the lines of America 250.
Okay. Smart man.
Lucky guess.
Okay. Any further discussion? With that, we'll go on to item 6, social media subcommittee. This was brought to me by the mayor's office when we interviewed last time to have a subcommittee on our social media account. So I'm looking for a couple of commission members that would help me out to get this thing started. We did have some people we interviewed that were good candidates to be on the commission. We think we got the best ones, but anyway, that are interested in helping the commission out on this subject. So if anybody's interested in serving on a subcommittee with me for a little bit, let me know. I'll reach out to those people we interviewed to see what we can do to get them together. As a reminder, the subcommittee acts just like this meeting. It has to be noticed, minutes have to be taken. So we just can't get together spur of the moment and meet to talk about it. We have to let Ms. Schiffler know we're going to meet, where we're going to meet, what time, and basically have an agenda for her to post for us. Emily, I have a question for you. I know we have to take minutes at a subcommittee meeting. Do we have to state who took the minutes, or we just have to have minutes sent back to Ms. Schiffler for?
Mr. Chair, the minutes don't need to reflect who prepared them. They just need to say who was there and what action was taken.
Okay,
So they can be pretty skeletal.
okay.
The statute just requires those two things.
That's what I thought. I just thought I'd double check on that.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, while I have your attention, to add, this sounds like it's premature, but the city does have a policy regarding social media accounts. They need to be approved by the communications manager,
Mhm.
and there needs to be full buy-in by a city employee so that, basically so that the city can step in and control the content if necessary.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like that's where you're headed, but
Yeah, it is. That's what we do now,
Oh.
is we have ideas, everything's sent to Ms.
I
Schiffler.
see.
She looks
Okay.
at it, and then she that does the actual posting for us. So we do not do any of the posting.
You're not talking about creating new accounts. You're.
No, no.
Okay,
No, just to the existing ones. We just want content.
got it.
Mr. Chair, I'd be happy to help you. out with
Okay.
that.
Mr. Chair, a few questions.
Yes.
So for this social media subcommittee, the goal, what is the target demographic of the people you're trying to reach out to?
Yes.
And then what is the overall goal or mission of having a committee like this?
For me, the goal is just to find good content. I don't want just pictures posted. I don't want just a written story down. I want to have a photo, some content with that photo. Now, this is me speaking. And I'm not good on social media. So I'm looking for any help that we can get to do this. Young people are great at social media. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. So I don't know, for younger people, what are they interested in? What content are they at as far as history and what it means? Do they want would they look at just a building? Do they want whatever? So we're just looking for good creative content that we can post. That makes sense. People, places, buildings.
I understand.
So would you be interested?
I would be interested.
No, it's not, and it's not going to be a lot of time. If we can meet, my plan is if we can meet a couple of months to begin with, and then it's just going to be me quarterly and have like 2 or 3 months worth of content available that we can send to Ms. Schiffler so that she can just start posting stuff. And I'm not last minute trying to figure out stuff that we can put out there.
Yeah. And then that would make sense. I'm just thinking about this from a, almost like a reach perspective. There's online and trying to get reach and get attention is something that these days takes, almost like precision. And that's why, like, in my mind, I'm trying to figure out a angle to hit a niche. And that way we can actually be successful in that subcommittee.
So I'll tell you what, do you follow our Facebook or Instagram page? Take a look at it. Tell us ways that we can improve content. That's probably the best thing we have right now, is how can we improve the content on what we put out there?
All right.
So,
And then I did have a question for Ms. Schiffler. I'm assuming this subcommittee will have to be pretty well in line with the new disabilities, one that came out recently.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Abdel-Manem. Yes, this is a topic I haven't brought to the full commission, but it's been part of the city's internal. Our communications manager might come and talk to the commission soon, but there are new federal guidelines for ADA compliance. It's the Americans with Disability Act. And the ones that are coming up. So this is the Americans with Disabilities is like everything from people with physical disabilities to like visual impairment. So everything that is online or digital content has to meet ADA requirements. So a lot of that's alt text, but even for our plan, Currently, the appendix, I'm not sure what to do with that because there's no way to make that ADA compliant. However, the plan itself, not the appendix, I have made sure that that's ADA compliant. It's some odds and ends like having columns with subheadings and yes. So sorry, the short answer is yeah, it's got to meet ADA compliance. So that's something that I, on my end, will have to make sure that we do. And just a little bit of background context. Right now, often the chair will send me an image and some information. I do usually have to tweak it to sort of fit within like city branding, and I make some edits, which I think have generally been fine with
I have no problem.
with Mr. Johnson. But that's kind of how it's worked now. Is it's fairly informal, and all commissioners are welcome to send me content that you'd like to put up. Maybe you go to the History Center, see something interesting. Think about how you would want to like package that and put that out. And I can do that. I just have to do a little bit of packaging on the city's end, make sure it meets ADA compliance.
When is the ADA compliant going to affect, do you know?
I believe it's April 2026, Chair, because we're involved with that at our school as well.
And I don't want to pause what we're doing, but should we take a pause until we know exactly how we're going to handle it within the city?
I have a pretty good grasp on how it will be for social media. There are a lot of other areas on the website that I'm still grappling with. Another initiative, I know this is a little bit of a sidebar, hopefully legal will allow it because it's not on the agenda, but the website, for example, the virtual tour that we have that Whole Films has done, not ADA compliant, so we cannot move forward in doing any new sites. We can archive sites, so that's gonna, I'm not exactly sure what the branding will look like, but that's gonna be an archived site. So there are some things, I'm also not sure about the walking tour app. So there are some things like that that we might either have to archive or put on hold, but social media, I think I have a good handle on how to do that, so.
Okay. So I guess then let's go ahead and proceed with a subcommittee, and we'll just kind of tread slowly until we know for sure. So if you guys are interested, email me, Ms. Schiffler, who's interested. I'll reach out to those other people we interviewed, and then we'll kind of set up a first meeting time to go over some bases of what we want to go over. If that works for everybody? Okay.
Mr. Chair, I just have a quick follow-up. Do you know, are you planning to have that meeting before our next official meeting?
I'm hoping to, yes.
So I would recommend that you contact Haley Stewart, who's not here tonight, but I
Yep.
think that is one of her main.
That was on
jobs
my,
that-
she's on my
Okay.
list.
Great,
All right.
noted.
Mr. Chair, can I give my 2 cents on this?
Sure.
Having been involved in social media from a public relations standpoint for over 20 years, and I'm still doing it for clubs now. The model that's being proposed, I've seen fail more often than succeed. And the reason is when you have one group of people who are creating material that needs to be approved by somebody else, that approval process gets kicked back a few times because the party didn't like what was being presented. The people creating the material get very frustrated and stop creating. And I understand very fully why the city or any group wants to have complete control over that, but it works best when the people who have control over it are also the people creating it.
Noted.
Okay, I hope this can be different,
I hope to.
but I'm just letting you know what I've seen happen in the past.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, if you are also on the subcommittee, that would be for commissioners, which would be a quorum. So if you want to, if there are 4 of you, you have to convene this board and have that meeting with the board. But if there are 3 of you, you can have the subcommittee meeting.
Or the 4? Sorry,
Go ahead.
lost track.
So if there's 4 members of
Yep.
this commission
1,
On-
3.
on the subcommittee, it's a quorum of this committee, we would have to meet here. If there's 3 less, plus an ad hoc member,
Yeah.
then we can meet wherever we would like.
Gotcha.
I think Haley would be the 4th.
I see.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so. We will proceed slowly. All right. With that, any further discussion on our social media? We will go on to old business, section 106 review update. Ms. Schiffler, anything new on that?
I attached the memorandum to the agenda. It's been executed, and so, yeah, I guess that's the update.
Okay, that works for me. With that, we'll go on to item 8, the elongated coin machine. I have reached out to Mr. Everett again to see if he's still willing to sponsor that. I have not heard back from him. He said, originally he said yes, but that was 6 weeks ago and I haven't heard back. So I will touch base with him. Mr. Freeze, any updates as far as costs, whatever?
Nothing, other than just waiting.
Okay,
They're waiting for the order basically, but I heard at the last meeting, some people commented about the demise of the penny. And while these are often called elongated penny machines, I see where you've got it here, elongated coin machine, which is actually a more accurate because you
Right.
can run almost any coin, nickels and dimes through them. So they don't have to be pennies.
okay.
So
I don't think the pennies are gonna go away, even though they're not gonna
Yeah.
mint them anymore.
there's supposed to be a 10-year supply
Yeah.
already out there, so it's going to be a while.
All right. This will just be continued on to old business for next month. With that, any other discussion on coin machine? Hearing none, our next meeting will be normal time, January 22nd, 2026. We will not have a regular meeting in December. We will hold elections for chairman and vice chair at that meeting. With that,
Mr. Chair,
yes, sir.
sorry to hold you guys up. I would, with your permission, like to ask a question and go back to discussion for topic number 5, the Historical Preservation Month activities.
Yes.
For my own brainstorming, I would like to ask you guys, and particularly Mr. Wilson, about bringing and targeting families as a demographic for the activities. Is that something you guys are interested in? Things like students or people of my age demographic?
Oh, I mean, as many different groups as we can gather. And yes, if it's, I feel like families go with that idea of America 250, settlers maybe, or I don't know, family groups, sure. I'm not sure exactly what specifically you're thinking, but I'm probably on board.
We're open to everybody. Our walking tours, we've got families with young kids. We've had older couples go on the tour. Not a lot of students per se, although we'd like to see students participate more in what we're doing. So, yeah, if you have any ideas that we can help bring students in to help us on Preservation Month, we're more than happy to have them here and interested in any ideas you have.
All right.
With that, any further discussion? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make the motion that we adjourn this meeting.
Mr. Chair, I second that motion.
A motion by Commissioner Freeze, second by Commissioner Monmo. For adjournment, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we are done. Thank you, everybody.